want to talk a little bit about prepositions, sort of in the big picture perspective, and why prepositions can matter. I mean, really, when you think about it, prepositions are really just grammatical tools, right? They link words together, they show relationships, a spatial, a temporal, or a logical kind of relationship. Spatial would be like in its location in the house, or maybe more metaphorically, in love, or conceptually, or temporal, of course, be time, after this or before that, and these kind of things. So prepositions really have a tremendous function in connecting and specifically showing relationships between things. On their own, they really don't carry a lot of theological weight. They're just connecting tools. But when you look at the connections and the relationships they sometimes bring, they can really have a lot of rich theological I don't say meaning because a preposition doesn't mean in itself, but within the context, they can carry sometimes a lot of theological implications. Some of the most common prepositions, and we're going to go over the prepositions today. You won't find prepositions very difficult, I don't believe. They're really not over burdensome. Some of the most common ones is men, like we would say men in a plural, but in Hebrew, men, meaning from or out of, and really emphasizing separation from a source, or beh, that's the Hebrew bet with the shavah beh. It might be translated in or with or by, maybe showing some instrument, by the sword. He killed him. Or all, our English word all, not spelt that way, but pronounced in the same manner, be on or upon or over, might referring to, support or going transfer responsibility, put our dependence upon the Lord, or excuse me, where the lamed with the shavah would be a preposition means like going to or toward. It's focusing on direction or even purpose, going toward the Lord. So if you look at some prepositions, and like in Psalm 37, verse 3, trust in the Lord and do good. To trust in the Lord, basically, we're talking about where the preposition ba marks location or sphere. And and some people might say you're going to trust is directed sort of upward or towards God. You're putting your trust looking towards Him. But it's really much more, it's more located inside the sphere of God's care. And so to trust in the Lord isn't just to trust in Him in the sense that I'm looking for Him in dependence and trust, but it's more that our faith is not really occasional, but is where our trust is dwelling in Him as our environment of safety and protection. We see the biblical metaphors or teaching in places like Psalm 18, verse 2, the Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. So being in God is like standing inside a fortress wall. Or in Psalm 46, verse 1, God is our refuge and strength. Again, being in God is like sheltering from a storm under the roof, and or a dwelling place. Lord, you have been our dwelling place in all generations. Psalm 90 in verse 1. Um, or our shield, Psalm 3, verse 3, O Lord, you are a shield about me. And so being in God, it's like standing behind the protective barrier of his presence. So when you hear the words trust in the Lord using the preposition be, you might think, or people might automatically sort of think about putting their trust or sending their prayers upward or putting their trust toward Him. But Hebrew really is emphasizing that our trust isn't outside reaching towards God, but it's inside the very presence of God. It's really, when we are in the sphere of God, we are in the sphere of His fortress that surrounds us. We are in the sphere of His refuge that shelters us. we're in the sphere of his dwelling place where I live in him, and he is our shield that covers me in that sphere. So to trust in the Lord is to relocate my confidence from myself and my own circumstances to the safe sphere of His faithfulness, His loving kindness, His hesed that we talked about before. Um, and so prepositions in themselves are just grammatical tools, very small little words, but can carry a lot of significance. I wouldn't say that they themselves are theological, but in the when they when they bring out relationships, they can in fact bring out some theological weight associated with that relationship, and I think that's important. So when we look at prepositions here in chapter 6, hopefully you'll begin to see a little more significance in the connections. Again, preposition is just a grammatical tool, but its significance is building relationships and identifying relationships where you're talking about the location of something, you're talking about the whether it be in the sphere or the physical location, or you're talking about the instrument by the sword he did this, or they can really bring a lot of understanding out if we really pay attention to them.